to the boardroom. Welcome to the boardroom.
Anyways, my speech is on mental health matters. I will be covering important statistics and common misunderstandings in teens, as well as showing you guys surveys and interviews. So what is the importance of mental health awareness? Your mental health is just as, if not more important than your physical health, except being mentally ill is very easy to mask. If somebody has a broken leg, you can visibly see that their leg is broken. But if somebody is diagnosed with depression or anxiety, they can easily cover up those feelings. This is the brain scan in a healthy brain versus those who have a mental illness. And you're probably looking and you're like, those are colors, it looks like some tie-dye. But actually, each color represents a different chemical. So if this is what the normal brain is supposed to look like, and this is what the brain with OCD looks like, you can tell that the chemicals are very actively stimulated and being overstimulated versus somebody in depression who does not have as much stimulation. So each color represents a different chemical. The areas of the brain that play the most significant roles in depression are the amygdala, thalamus, and hippocampus. So these are shown in the diagrams. You guys can't really see that. The hippocampus shows a 9 to 13% shrinkage in patients who were diagnosed with depression. So not only is your brain being chemically imbalanced, but it is also being physically shrunk by a mental illness. So in order to get more research for my project, I interviewed Kirk Woondy, who is a NAMI executive director. Kirk Woondy has worked for NAMI since 2016, and he started out as a journalist. He began his interest in mental health due to personal experiences, and he says that NAMI is a very welcoming and supportive community. So I asked him if the stigma around mental health has decreased or increased since his time working, so around since 2016, and he said both, that mental health is definitely a more openly discussed topic in our generations versus older generations like mom and dad who didn't talk about it as much, but there's still stigma around homeless community mental health and military mental health. And he says that mystery causes fear and fear causes for people to stay quiet, which is why there still is a stigma around it. A word of advice, he says, recognize that it is really common. 1 in 5 people struggle with a mental health challenge, especially now. It's normal and it is okay to have feelings of sadness. Better days are ahead, and that doesn't mean you should be ashamed or embarrassed to feel your feelings. A lot of growth can come. Accept it, have self-compassion, and recognize you are not alone. So for the next part, this is an empathy simulation that I did with my class, so it's like different because you guys know who she is. So you're going to put yourself in Amber's shoes. So meet Amber. So
Hi, Amber.
pretending you're Amber, you're 16, and you were diagnosed with manic depression, bipolar depression, borderline personality disorder, dissociative disorder, all on top of being a regular teenage girl. So everyday life, you wake up and you struggle to wake up out of bed because you have no motivation. You go to the bathroom and you wash your hands and you realize you didn't do it in the correct way, and your brain tells you to go back to bed and do it all over again. So you go from the bathroom back into your bedroom, redo all the whole process until it feels right in your brain and your brain isn't as actively stimulated. Then you go to school and all of your classmates treat you so much differently because they believe that since you're sick, you are going to spread that sickness to them, that negative energy to them. And so all of your friends treat you a lot differently. At home, you aren't as understood because nobody really knows what's going on in your brain. So you can lash out on your family, you can have an attitude, and they'll get mad at you. Like, why are you doing that? Like, can't you just be nice? Can't you just be positive? When in reality, that's all your brain. And so you physically can't handle it. So all on top of just being a regular teenage girl going through high school, you are now also going through high school with 6 different mental illnesses. So you guys can stop pretending to be Amber. Thanks, Amber. As teenagers, we all definitely misunderstand a lot, and I think that is mostly due to social media. TikTok is a really big factor on this because people on TikTok think that they are psychiatrists. So there are definitely some misunderstandings within teenagers. The most common is the difference between having depression and just feeling sad. Having sadness is just a temporary reaction. It's a natural human reaction to certain situations, and it's temporary. And depression follows with a constant feeling of sadness, irritability, and lack of interest, changes in your sleep and eating, and no 2 cases of depression are ever the same. Another one that is misunderstood is having OCD versus just being clean. OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder, and it is a serious mental condition. There are 4 different types of OCD, and again, no two cases of OCD are the same. It interrupts their daily life. It controls their daily life. They're obsessing and having these compulsive thoughts all day, every day. It does require a diagnosis. It affects 1 in every 40 adults and 1 in every 100 children. And being a neat freak or just being clean is just a personal preference. People who prefer this are usually perfectionists in other aspects of life, and it does not control their daily life. 51.5 million adults in the U.S. alone struggle with a mental illness. There have been 1,181 suicides in Colorado just within 2021, and this was all taken from the beginning of March, and we're now in May. So sadly, that number has increased. And 1 in 5 young adults struggle with a mental illness, and this is when I passed out glow sticks to my class and I had them stand up, but it doesn't really matter for you guys.
Hey.
I took a poll.
You don't have
Glow sticks?
I'll give you a glow stick. I took a poll of 50 students or 50 seniors at Mesa Ridge High School who have a diagnosed mental disorder, and I asked them a couple questions. The first one being, do you notice that your mental illness impacts academic performance? And 80% said some days it's hard and some days it's easy, just kind of depends on the day. 20% said that they do struggle to find motivation. Was it difficult for you to open up to somebody about your feeling? And 40% said that they didn't know how, and 60% said yes, that it was difficult. I asked if it was easy for them to find or locate very helpful resources regarding mental health, and 100% of students said no, which is very disappointing considering that our school district talks so highly about mental health, but they're not doing much to provide for it. So overall, the seniors that I surveyed at Mesa Ridge High School did find that it was difficult to do their schoolwork, find helpful resources, and open up to somebody. So in order to do my part in spreading mental health awareness, here are some helpful resources that you can use if you or somebody you know is struggling. This is the Colorado Crisis Line number. It doesn't have to be a crisis to reach out to them. If you're just feeling under the weather mentally, you can reach out to them and call them. If you don't feel comfortable calling somebody, you can text the word TALK to 38255 and text somebody and just tell them about your day, tell them what's wrong. If somebody you know or yourself is considering suicide or harming yourself or in danger to yourself or others, there is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. Give them a call and they calm you down and talk you through the process. If you are in a more group setting, there are NAMI support groups that Kirk Woundy, who I mentioned earlier, provided me with. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger, you can talk to a friend, a trusted adult, a school counselor. Write down your feelings and just remember to allow yourself to feel your feelings because you are not alone. This is a roadmap that I created to mental health recovery. The first step is to stabilize, understand that there is a potential crisis. The second step is to go to a support group or talk to your friends, go to therapy, get your voice out there. The third step is to educate yourself. Do your own research behind mental health, especially the mental illness that you were diagnosed with or you believe you could be diagnosed with, but never self-diagnose. The fourth step is to talk to a doctor about how you are feeling so that they can help you get the correct diagnosis. The fifth step is remember to take care of yourself because essentially you are the most important part. And don't forget to pay it forward because nobody is ever alone in their journey. And then here were just some pieces of advice from the poll that students gave me. And then here are just some quotes. Thank you. That was my speech.